Everybody seemed to make a U-turn in the middle of the road. As we tracked through this thing and we got to the middle of the week, what appeared to be dead, the relationship between the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton, came back to life. And the guy that many thought was going to wind up getting the job is gone somewhere else. Let's talk about Sean Payton. Let's talk about the Walton family, the Walmart money that owns the Denver Broncos. They both changed their mind. Payton a week ago had canceled out the follow-up second interview after having had a 4-hour interview initially in Los Angeles. It looked as if this was dead and gone. And the Payton's game plan was they wouldn't give me what I want. I'm going to wait till next year and see what happens with the Dallas Cowboys and with the Chargers coaching job. They both gave. I'm led to believe that ownership agreed to allow Payton to have the kind of payday he wants, 10 to 15 million per year, right out of the gate, be the highest paid coach probably in the National Football League. Denver's ownership also agreed to make the compensation available to the New Orleans Saints to get Payton out. They were dead set against giving up 2 number ones because what they gave up to get the Russell Wilson trade. They came back and they made 2 different offers to New Orleans and said, you pick what you want. You can have a number 1 this year and a middle round pick next year, or you can have a number 2 this year and get our number 1 a year from now, which might be a lot higher than the number 1 that Denver would have to offer. The Saints said yes. Saints will have to make the decision which offer they want, 2 now or a 1 now and a later pick next season. Payton backed off his demands. I want to bring my whole posse, my whole front office with me. George Paton will remain as the general manager of the Denver Broncos. So that being said, the deal there to be made. I think the big issue is everybody in the AFC West look over your shoulder. Kansas City's good. Yeah, they're back in the Super Bowl again. All those AFC championships. The Chargers think they're really, really close. And now they have a new offensive coordinator to maybe fix the offense. And here come the Broncos. Now the Broncos got Sean Payton. And they got his playbook. And they got his resume. And they got Russell Wilson. And they got their left tackle back healthy. And they got the 3 wide receivers who were all nicked up last year. They're going to fall under the coaching ability of Sean Payton and his offense. And they got the running back, Javonte Williams, who'll be completely healthy. And you got a track record of Payton player personnel. He's the one that found Alvin Kamara. He's the one that drafted Michael Thomas and developed him. He's a magnet for free agents from the outside. So all of a sudden, the landscape of the AFC West is a little bit different because it is the Chiefs who are elite. It's the Chargers who think they're close. And holy cow, here comes Sean Payton with Russell Wilson and all the ingredients that he's going to inherit. This is an amazing turnaround story to me. And now suddenly everything's changing in the AFC West.
I mean, if you're a football fan in Colorado, this is great news because you've got 2 head coaches that are attracting all these players. You know, Neon Dion in Boulder and now Sean Payton at Mile High Stadium. But does Russell Wilson, does he still have the magic to be a top-of-the-line quarterback in the NFL?
I think he does because you got Peyton's dynamics. Look at what Peyton did to downtrodden New Orleans. You know how bad the Saints franchise was? And he got there, and he took the gamble on Drew Brees coming off shoulder surgery, and Brees sets all these records, and the Saints of all people, holding up the Super Bowl trophy, as Sean Payton was there in that ceremony. So there's great credibility. His resume speaks volumes, not just X's and O's, but player personnel, just the whole psyche and the approach. And granted, there's a black mark there because he was involved in Bountygate. He got suspended for a year, along with a number of his coaches. The Saints paid a terrible price, dollar-wise, financially, and draft pick-wise, when the NFL sanctioned them for the headhunting situation. That being said, this is a really sharp guy. 152 career wins, 9 wins in the postseason, Super Bowl, and he's going to Denver. I mean, and think where the Broncos were 5 weeks ago. The Nathaniel Hackett mistake hanging around their neck. Empty seats in that stadium in Denver, which is you never, ever see. Animosity with the fans, the season ticket holders, the media. Think how their world has changed in a 5-week time since the end of the season and the Nathaniel Hackett fiasco to where they are now with Sean Payton. One other side note as it relates to coaching, and maybe we needed to connect the dots on this. DeMeco Ryans was supposed to interview on Tuesday with the Broncos. He, of course, is the 49ers defensive coordinator. He backed out of the interview. He backed out, and he's taking the Houston Texans job. That kind of stuns me because they are devoid of players, and I think they have an ownership problem. Now, granted, they've kind of rebuilt the defense, but they don't have anything offensively. That being said, DeMeco Ryans goes in. He'll take his expertise on defense. I'm sure they will add some really creative guys on the offensive coaching staff. And Houston's got 2 fairly high draft picks. They're going to get one of the marquee kid quarterbacks. So this thing's really worked out well when it looked like it was going to be a mess. Peyton goes to the Mile High City. DeMeco Ryans is going to the Houston Texans with draft picks in his pocket and a pretty good defense that he inherits. Fascinating story.
I mean, do you think the 2 signings were linked? Like maybe one of those coaches dropped out of Denver and then took Houston, like, and that enabled Peyton to come and sign with the Broncos, or these kind of separate deals that were on their own track?
I think DeMeco Ryans was so excited when he heard the sales pitch from Nick Caserio, the general manager of what's here and what's going to be here, that he decided to go there. And then Peyton, and it may well be that he got tones from outer space that said Peyton is back in it in Denver, and Denver's changed its mind, and they're both doing U-turns and reducing the things they were demanding from each other. So maybe DeMeco Ryans said, hey, I got another opportunity I think is the right opportunity. So these jobs have really filled fast. And of course, prior to that, Frank Reich was hired by Carolina. So now we're sitting there to see what Arizona does. And they kind of got to be stunned because they wanted DeMeco Ryans. Have to see what Arizona does. And who knows what the Indianapolis Colts are going to do. That they're in another galaxy with the way they're running their football operation and their business. So that's the latest there.